Welcome to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on WIU. Today's program, we recap the big win down in Nashville over Tennessee State. We also preview the Hall of Fame game against Tennessee Tech and speak with senior defensive back Nick Beard. All that and much more right here on Panther Sports Talk.
Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by Johnson's Automotive Service is a proud supporter of Panther Sports on WEIU. Johnson's is a complete car facility for all your automotive repair and maintenance needs. Johnson's Automotive Service, keeping your life running.
Welcome back to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on WIU. I'm your host, Rich Moser. We're joined every week by EIU football coach Dino Babers. And Coach, coming off a big win there at Tennessee State, offense versus defense, we kind of prepped it all last week, and it actually came out, and it was more our defense shutting down their offense ended up being one of the big stories of the game.
Well, I really thought that was going to be the story all week, and how proud can you be of our defense? The way our defense played against that offense was absolutely amazing. How many pass breakups we had, pressure on the quarterback, big hits. I mean, big strong legal hits, no flags being thrown. I thought they were really talking with their pads, not with their mouth. And I thought they made an example of how they want to play and how they're going to play from here on out.
The defense playing well, the secondary played well, the up front played well. 10 pass breakups, 4 of them by Nick Beard, a senior. We'll have an interview with him a little bit later on that I did down there afterwards. And one of the things I gave him a hard time about, and I know you guys kind of have, 22 career pass breakups in his career now, and never an interception. And one he had an opportunity for the other day. It kind of bounced off his chest, and we kind of joked up in the press boxes. Sometimes that's why guys play defense and not offense.
Well, I tell you what, Nick Beard plays defense because he likes to smack people. He may have no interceptions, but he's got 22 PBUs, and he probably got a couple of broken bones and some guys having nightmares about him at night. He is a classic, old-fashioned safety that comes downhill and separates people from the ball legally. I couldn't be more proud of him. I thought he played a heck of a game. He's been banged up a couple of weeks, but I thought he really showed off and played with a lot of swagger Saturday.
A couple different changes in the linebacker core in terms of who started. Alex Helms went out there and started, and Antonio Taylor went out there and started. And I kind of asked you, was it more because they were a run-heavy team and those guys were run stoppers, or they're just kind of starting to maybe surpass those other guys? You have about 6 really good linebackers that are interchangeable.
You know, I always challenge the coaches to be green and growing, not red and rotten. Everybody has something that they're special at. Everybody has something that they're good at, or they wouldn't be here. Some guys are better at some things than others, but everybody's got something that they're good at. And what I always challenge the coaches to do is not get locked into starting the same guy all the time. If you're playing a team that fits somebody's special purposes or traits, don't be scared to put them in the lineup if you know what you're going to get, and these guys can help you win the football game, and they're special in this area, more special than maybe somebody that's used to starting on them. Just flip the lineup and let the other guy go and see how he goes. And if he doesn't do well, then you can always play the other guy. I don't think there's any entitlement into saying that I am the starting this and I always go out first. This is a football team. We all care about winning. We know whoever we put out there is going to be very, very focused on trying to win the football game for Eastern Illinois.
Now up front, another outstanding performance by those guys up there. Pat Wirtz, even though he didn't record a lot of tackles, he really influenced the game. I can recall 2 or 3 times where he jumped up, and very reminiscent of what you see a lot of times on Saturday in NFL games. He had a guy locked him in. He knew he wasn't going to get there and jumped up and batted the ball backwards 3 or 4 times.
I mean, when he batted the ball, they were great bats because the receiver was open. And all of a sudden, this giant paw comes from nowhere and knocks the ball back at the quarterback. And that happens one time, it's a happening. When it happens 3 or 4 times, that means you're dominating your opponent. And then you got to think about that quarterback. That's an incomplete pass, incomplete pass, incomplete pass. It starts to play on his head that maybe he needs to raise the ball up a little bit, get it a little bit higher his release. It starts affecting all parts of the game. I thought Pat Wirtz's physical play was unbelievable. If you want to watch a physical throwback football player, Neanderthal man, go back and watch that game snap for snap with Pat's words. He was fun to watch. I'm really proud of him. It was one of the most physical games I've ever seen him play.
Now, when you flip to the other side of the ball, our offensive line kind of held its own. I don't want to say dominated, but held its own against what you perceive to be maybe one of the better defensive front four that you guys have played all year. I know you compared them to the guys that we played against at Northern Illinois, who they were really the only team I thought that kind of disrupted what you guys were trying to do with the pressure they could get.
The down four for Tennessee State may be better than Northern Illinois. I'm not sure, but we don't have to sit here and debate about it. I mean, those are the two best fronts we've played, and those guys were talented, they were athletic, and they were hungry. And until we got them tired where we could have our way with them, I mean, they were making some plays in the backfield, had a couple of scrambles where Jimmy had to use his legs. People don't realize how mobile he is because he doesn't have to do it that often, but he's very mobile. And thanks to that, and then finally getting away from them a little bit in the end where we could start running the ball on them, I thought that was the difference in the game. But I think their front seven and their front four may be the best that we faced all year, and definitely the best FCS front four we faced.
Now, at the end of the day, you guys were able to put up 34 points. You put up 550 plus yards, the most that they've given up in quite a while. And were there things that you kind of saw during the course of the game? It looked like you were able to get some guys free on like some seam routes and things like that. Are there things that you saw that maybe their guys had some tendencies that were able to free those certain patterns up for certain guys?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I hope so. My wife's like, that's what he stays at the office all night for. We saw some things. Staff did a great job of breaking them down, and we saw some things that we wanted to take advantage of. We thought that we took advantage of some of those things, and they helped us score some points. But there was my hats are off to Coach Roy Reed. There was a period in the game where we had a couple of 3-and-out stops where, I was starting to get that Northern Illinois feeling again. I said, wait a minute. Now this is like 4 to 5 3-and-outs, and they started to get the momentum back from us during the game. And then we were able to come up with another big play and then kind of put the game away. But I thought the coaching staff did an excellent job, and it's one of those games that everybody needs to feel good about. We were tired on the way back, getting back at 2 o'clock in the morning back into Charleston, but we all felt good about what we did on the field.
Now, one of the guys who stepped up, and you kind of mentioned this afterwards in the post-game press conference, that every guy kind of gets his turn, his day to kind of shine on the offense a little bit. And Jeff Lepak was kind of that guy this week. He's one of 3 receivers that finished with over 100 yards, but had 4 catches, but 3 of them were all what I would consider game changers. 2 of them were touchdowns, and then 1 of them almost a near touchdown. We looked at the play, and for those of you that heard the call, Coach and I did confirm he was about 4 inches short. So even with replay, he would not have gotten in for a touchdown, but still a miraculous effort on that play.
Well, I mean, people throw Hail Marys all the time, and to be able to say that you caught a Hail Mary is something. There's not a lot of guys at the bar saying, I caught one. It doesn't happen. But for him to be able to catch that, I mean, that was amazing. Now, ending up 4 inches short, we're going to have to get on him a little bit about that. And there was a couple of wide receivers, I'm not going to mention any names, that could have,
pushed him in.
Well, they could have hit him in the ribs and picked him up and kind of knocked him about 6 inches, and we'd have had 7 more points. But I thought that the throw by Jimmy, the escape, I mean, Jimmy took a shot on that too. And I mean, he must have launched that ball 60, 65 yards. And it was good to see the kids, because you work on that every day, and they're always like, why do we have to work on this every day? Like it's really going to work. And now they realize that, yeah, it does work. If you work hard at it and you do it every day in practice, you got an opportunity for success in the game. And then obviously the other 2 plays by Lepak, big plays. And I'm glad to see Jeff finally have his day in the sun here at Eastern Illinois.
Now, the other one you mentioned is Jimmy Garoppolo. We talk about him all week, and I had Jimmy do some media things yesterday. It seems like every Monday I've got kind of his day to do media stuff. And I joked with him as we were walking to one of them, and I said, Jimmy, he threw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I said, and you probably could have thrown for about 700 and 3 or 4 more. I said, you weren't. He's like, no, I know, I missed some guys. He wasn't sharp by the way we've seen him, and maybe our standards have become that high, but yet he still picked them apart for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards.
It's really kind. It's amazing. It's amazing from where I first came here and what people used to say about offense. and what we said we were going to do and how people snickered. And now where we're at and where everybody's expectations are with the offense and with this football team. I'll be the first one to tell you, and Jim, I've already told Jimmy, I said, I thought you left some meat on the bone. I thought there was about 21 points out there that we could have had that we didn't have. Now, that being said, I don't think he played an F or a D or a C game. I think he played a strong B+ football game with one of the first or second best defense that he's faced this year. And you're sitting there, what was wrong with him? He wasn't quite right. And I think he threw for 400 and something yards and one of the top 10 all-career passing days or something like that in EIU history. And I think when you're dealing with perfection and you're trying to be perfect, and every day you want to go out and score 100 on the test. You don't want to get an A, you want 100. You don't want 91, you want 100. And they're both A's, but you want the A+. I think that's what makes playing quarterback and being a special quarterback really cool. He understands that we want him to get an A+, not an A-, and he wants the exact same thing. So we can't wait to get back in this week and make him toilet flush all that old information and give him the new stuff and see where we can go and what we can do with Tennessee Tech.
Now, you talk about Tennessee Tech. We'll start to preview them a little bit. You already listened to the OVC conference call on Tuesday mornings and how that goes. And they have two quarterbacks listed. Two quarterbacks have thrown for about the same amount of yards. They're going to get their guy who you've seen and probably maybe on paper is the more dangerous of the two, maybe on film as well. Darian Stone looks like he's healthy and will be the guy this week.
How lucky are we that we get to face a healthy Darian Stone? I thought we got a glimpse of him last year. I believe his first start last year was against us, and I mean, he gave us all kind of trouble. I know this halftime score, I can't quite remember. I think we were behind last year, or it was really, really close, and we were behind. And a lot of that was because of him. He can throw, he can run, he has great leadership qualities. I think the way he moves the ball around and his escapability really caught our defense by surprise and gave us problems. Now that we've played him for 1 year, I expect us to be able to handle it a little better. But I'll tell you what, this is a dangerous football team, a dangerous opponent, and maybe the second or third best quarterback in the league coming in here healthy.
Now, one of the things that you also may or may not, I guess, have to worry about, and I was talking to Mike Brad last night, and he does a chart to kind of spot the offensive guys. And for us, he's like, you know, it's a little simpler for Eastern. He said, I know which two running backs there are, which quarterback, and which 4 or 5 receivers, he said, when I do my chart. He said, I'd started doing Tennessee Tech's, he said, and they have a bunch of guys who don't have any outstanding numbers, but nobody that's just clearly not on the chart, and his paper doubled or tripled over what he has to kind of prepare for to call the game. I'm assuming that's the same problem when you're trying to scout it from a defensive standpoint.
Absolutely. The numbers they all look the same. They're very balanced out between 3 receivers, balanced out between 2 runners. And really, one of their quarterbacks could be their second leading rusher. So when you've got a quarterback that can throw and run, you got a tailback that can run, and you really don't know which receiver they're trying to get the ball to, it's kind of difficult sometimes to create a game plan to stop the quote-unquote best players on the team. So the numbers are really, there's a mean to them. We really can't tell who they're trying to get the ball to, and what we got is a good football team and a well-experienced coaching staff coming in here. I mean, Watson Brown he's been a head coach as long as I've been in coaching. I mean, he's been a head coach a long, long time, and I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve that he wants to pull out to knock off the number 2 EIU Panthers.
Now, defensively, they seem to be a little down from where they've been in the past. Their bread and butter seems to have been the ability to have big guys that can make plays up front on the defensive line. Those numbers don't appear to be there, at least so far coming into the game. A lot of their leading tacklers have seemed to be linebackers and secondary guys. Last week when we talked about that, you said Tennessee State was set up that way because those front 4 guys hold them in line to make the other guys make plays.
Absolutely.
Is Tennessee Tech the same way, or are there numbers that down a little bit because those guys aren't as good as some of the guys that have been there in the past?
I don't think they're young. They've got 2 seniors on the D-line and 2 freshmen on the D-line. The seniors are playing okay. The freshmen are still kind of feeling their ways around a little bit. They got a veteran back in, so they have a tendency to start bringing some linebackers for extra pressure and on the quarterback, and those guys are still making plays. And then they can play their safeties closer to the line of scrimmage. They've got a 3-year starter back there. and those guys are good enough to stop the run if it's a run and yet still cause a little havoc and get back on pass plays. So they've got players. And the one thing about Tennessee Tech, they had injuries last year. They've had some injuries this year. So they've had a lot of football players play. It's not like they've had one guy play for a whole year and a half and now they're starting somebody else. They have a lot of experience on their football team because of those injuries, and that makes their defense and their special teams more dangerous because they're more seasoned in those two areas. This is a good football team. This is a team that had us down at half, where it was a close game at halftime last year at their place, and when your season's not going well or as well as you want it to go, you've only got one thing to do, and that is spoil somebody else's season. And how big of a smile would they have on their face if they could spoil our season and give us our first home loss since I've been the head coach here. So there's a lot of riding on this. We don't want to lose at home. We don't want to lose in front of our people, and we'd like to stay one game ahead of everybody else in the conference race.
All right, Coach, and everybody can see that game live. It'll be a noon start, so the sun will be out the whole time while people are out there watching the football game. Tailgating starting a little bit earlier for everybody, so instead of sandwiches and barbecues, maybe little biscuits and gravy, grits, eggs, things like that I know Coach likes. He'll step out there in the tailgate and sample some of those for you.
Keep it warm. After the game, I'll be out there.
All right, 12 o'clock, Hall of Fame game. The induction will be later on that day, but those people will be introduced at halftime of the game. A couple of those out there. There'll be some household names you've heard. Of course, one of them, Scott McGee, who played football here in the 1978 championship team, so he'll be one of the people that get inducted there at halftime. Noon start. You can see the game right here in WIU. You can also hear it on the Panther Radio Football Network. Be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics.
Out of the shotgun, Garoppolo rolling out to his right. Pump fake, sets up, looking, throwing the bomb. Going for Gober, back of the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Illinois.
Eastern Illinois Panther football is on WEIU. The high-flying EIU Panthers, led by quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, continue their run at back-to-back OVC championships as they welcome OVC rival Tennessee Tech to O'Brien Field. It's the Panthers and Golden Eagles Saturday at 12. WEIU is your home for Panther football. Panther fans, here's what's going on in Panther athletics. Panther football now 4-0 in the OVC and 7-1 overall, as the second-ranked Panthers won at number 21 Tennessee State 34-16 in a first-place OVC showdown. Volleyball with 2 OVC road wins this past weekend. They're now 7-3 overall in the OVC and 13-10 overall. Their wins came at Murray State and Austin Peay. Women's soccer dropped 2 road matches in OVC play this past weekend at UT Martin and Southeast Missouri State. They're now 6-3 overall in the OVC and 6-12 on the season. Men's soccer dropped 2 road matches this past week, 3-0 at Northern Illinois in a non-conference matchup, and 2-0 at Denver in a Summit League game. EIU is now 1-11-2 on the season and 1-3-1 in Summit League play. Cross country competed at the Illinois Invite. Victor De La Torre was the top men's finisher in 14th place, and Amy Yelman was the top women's finisher in 23rd place. Men's swimming dropped 3 matches at Padovan Pool this past weekend, 2 defeats to IUPUI, and 1 to Illinois Chicago. They're now 0-4 on the season. Women's swimming also dropped their 3 matches at Padovan Pool, 2 defeats to IUPUI, and 1 to Illinois Chicago. They're now 1-4 on the season. Women's golf placed 17th overall at the Dayton Fall Invite. Tiffany Wolf was the top women's finisher in 35th place. Now here's what to watch for this week. Tonight, Wednesday, October 30th, EIU basketball with the Blue Madness at Lance Arena starting at 7 o'clock. Men's soccer is at Wisconsin for a 7 p.m. match. On Friday, Panther volleyball is at Lance Arena for a 7 o'clock game against OVC rival UT Martin. On Saturday, 4 Panther athletic teams in action. Cross country is at the OVC Championships in Moorhead, Kentucky, with competition starting at 9:45 in the morning. Panther football back at O'Brien Field for a 12 p.m. game against OVC rival Tennessee Tech. You can watch that game on WEIU TV or listen to it on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. Volleyball with another match at Lance Arena at 5 o'clock as they take on Southeast Missouri State. Also at 5 o'clock in the MLK Union at EIU, the EIU Athletic Hall of Fame banquet. And men's basketball with an exhibition match against Oakland City at 7:30 at Lance Arena. On Sunday, it's a soccer doubleheader at Lakeside Field. First at 11:30, men's soccer takes on Nebraska Omaha. And then at 2, women's soccer takes on SIU Edwardsville. On Tuesday, men's soccer back at Lakeside Field for a 3 p.m. match against in-state rival Bradley. For Panther Sports Talk, I'm Ramin Karbasioun.
Welcome to a live shot here at TSU, LP Field, Nashville, after the Panthers' 34-16 victory. You can hear the TSU band playing in the back. I'm joined by senior Nick Beard here. 4 pass breakups today. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. The band's still going, but they weren't a factor today unlike they have been in other years.
Oh, no, man. You know, we took heed into everything, you know, we stressed in practice, and, you know, we just wanted to come here and complete one goal and let's get a W and take off, man.
Now, we kind of joked with you over a 4-year career. You had 4 pass-up breakups today, no career interceptions. You're now in the career top 10 for pass breakups, and I know at one point in time in your career you're going to get a interception, probably going to end up being for a pick 6, but at the end of the day, just kind of knocking the ball down and making a play is probably the most important thing to you.
Not at all, man. Any chance I get, any opportunity I get to catch the ball, I want to take full advantage of it. I mean, obviously, you know, I had one tonight. I could have, you know, put that in the interception column, but it didn't work out that way. But, you know, that just made me go harder, you know, focus on, get to practice the things that I made, you know, the mistakes that I made in the game today, you know, hit the jugs.
Now, the defense seemed to have a pretty good game plan against them. You actually changed up the starting lineup a little bit and went with what I would call a kind of a run athletic defense in the linebackers, where Alex Helms and Antonio Taylor, 2 guys who are really athletic and can track down the run, were out there as starters. Was that kind of a game plan you guys had practiced all week to kind of offset what they do?
Oh, yeah, man, but it wasn't really, you know, focusing on the things or the strategies or try to, you know, compliment, you know, everything that they're doing. It was more of us, like, we seen things in those guys, you know, that they'll be able to, you know, the plays they'll be able to make, you know, the different things they can do. So we say, why not? You know, I mean, we still in the season. We don't want to, you know, look back and dwell on the things that we could have and should have did. So we kind of, you know, took heed into, you know, the players, you know, seeing, you know, everything that they're capable of, and we just tried it out.
What is it like as a player, I guess, to come in and play in a stadium like this? They get to play in it all the time, but there was a big crowd. It was a nice atmosphere here today.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, this atmosphere was, I believe it wasn't that, it was loud, but it wasn't a lot of fans as we, you know, when we went down to San Diego State. So, like I say, though, man, like, we came here for one goal and one goal only, you know, and that's to take the W. I mean, all the extracurricular things going on outside of us, you know, we try not to focus on that. We try to keep our focus on, you know, as much as we can. I know it's kind of hard, you know, they got everything, homecoming going on, but I think we did a good job with that. Now,
the offense didn't seem at 34 points. That's still a good day for the offense, but I didn't think they were as sharp as they have been some other days. And the defense really came up. The 2 scores really came in the 4th quarter, and the last one was really against the second team unit, where the game was really in hand, and you guys were trying to get back on the bus without getting any injuries.
Oh, man, you know our offense, man. You know, when they're on, they're on. I mean, they kind of started off kind of sluggish, but I mean, who does? I mean, you got to give credit to you know, Tennessee State defense also. You know, they're a great team also. You know, so you can't try to, you know, put the focus on our offense. You know, you got to count, you know, and give credit to that defense also. You know, they're a good team.
Now, the Panthers are sitting in first place in the OVC, 4-0, 7-1 in the country. You guys are back at home next week. What has it been like to play in front of those capacity crowds at home, especially here as a senior?
Oh, man, I mean, it's love. I mean, always, you know, we get the support from our fans, you know, everybody supporting us, you know, whether it's our families or, you know, just people who just, you know, support EIU. I mean, it's always good, you know, to receive recognition, you know, and support. So, I mean, I think it gives us, you know, an extra fire, you know, because we know we got people that's behind us. And, you know, we putting in, you know, all the work that we doing. I mean, so we need that kind of love.
All right, Nick, appreciate your time. That wraps up this live segment from LP Field here in Nashville. Thanks for watching, everybody.
But the Panthers ranked number 2 in the country with a record of 6-1, 3-0 in Ohio Valley Conference play. Get set to meet the Tigers at Tennessee State. They are 4-0 in the OVC, 7-1 overall. They are ranked number 21 in the nation. They blitz Garoppolo. He's back, steps up. He's throwing the bomb. Got Gover out there. Got it. 20, 15. Steps out of a tackle. Hits a touchdown for Eastern Illinois. Garoppolo to Gover. 61 yards on the 3rd play from scrimmage. Back to pass. Butler looking under pressure. Has to roll out to his left. He's going to keep it. Hit by Nick Beard and sacked on the play. 4-man rush. Some pressure. He steps up and they sack him on the 30-yard line. It's John Boytilla again. Boytilla with another big play. High snap. They hand on a draw up the middle. Little to 20. Right through the middle. 15. 10 to the 5. Little lowers his shoulder. Pounds over. Touchdown Eastern Illinois. A terrific finish to the run by Shepard Little. Eastern blitzing. Back to pass. Big pressure. And Antonio Taylor sacks him at the 38. A well-timed blitz by Taylor. Back to pass. Garoppolo looking, throwing deep, wide open. Jeff Leapak, touchdown, Eastern Illinois. They jumped all over a short route, and Leapak was all by himself behind the secondary for a 34-yard touchdown pass. Garoppolo up under center. Fake handoff. Back to pass. Steps up. Throwing the bomb up the right side. Gober back at the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Illinois. Gober in the back corner with the touchdown. And Garoppolo has just tied the Eastern record with his 34th touchdown pass this season. Good snap. Three-man rush. He's back. Steps up. Now from behind, he's sacked. Got it away. It's incomplete. No sack as getting there just as he let it go was Clinton Simpkins. Two-step drop. Pass to the right. Batted down. Do I need to tell you? Pat Wirtz, he's got the big three up in the air. Jimmy back to pass, pump fake, throws it to the right. Wide open Leapak, 10, 5, touchdown, Eastern Illinois.
Panthers essentially have put this game away now, leading 34-10.
Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by Johnson's Automotive Service is a proud supporter of Panther Sports on WEIU. Johnson's is a complete car facility for all your automotive repair and maintenance needs. Johnson's Automotive Service, keeping your life running.